Can you be neurodivergent and very successful as an entrepreneur? This is one of the questions that is on my mind the most at the moment, following my recent diagnosis of autism, but also being a past entrepreneur, having run a coaching business for 4 years, and having had to close this business because it was not financially sustainable. I'm trying to come back to it. I'm considering reopening a new activity and finding different ways to do business. And on the back of my mind, there is still this question like, can I actually make it work? Can I actually, from a place of being neurodivergent, make it function in a way that is actually sustainable, where I will enjoy and where I can get the best result possible? And I've been scrolling the internet a lot recently. I've been looking to see if other people are talking about this. So a lot on Reddit, for instance, to read about people who are also neurodivergent, who are running their own businesses, how they are doing this, what challenges they are facing, what adjustment they made in the way they're running the business to make it work for them. And there are a few things, but not a lot. There are a lot of examples of entrepreneurs who have ADHD, for instance, who are widely successful, like I'm talking, millionaires and billionaires, but not necessarily people who look like me, not necessarily, people who don't necessarily want to make millions and millions, but just like a decent amount of money to live well, and really trying to do it at a smaller scale than what they are doing. So I've been thinking I probably need to review and go think about it for myself, and trying to find ways to make it work. And I thought it would be helpful to share, because you might be in this process as well of having been diagnosed neurodivergent, and you are trying to think about your business, or you're trying to rethink your business to make it work better, or you're just like curious about how other people are doing it. Whatever is the reason why you are watching this video, I'm going to give you my perspective on what I can understand from my own journey works or doesn't work, and what I'm trying to change as well. And hopefully that inspires you as well to do your own reflection and to find your own solutions. So for me, one of the things that is coming across right now is that, looking at my past business, I was a coach. I did this for 4 years. So I was doing coaching, I was doing trainings and workshops, and a lot of teaching and personal development. And if I look back at this experience, actually, having my brain on the autism spectrum helped me both as a business owner and as a coach. So I have like strengths that are very strong. For instance, I am very how to say that, focused. So I can be very disciplined. If there is something I'm really interested in, I'm going to go full in. I'm going to give it all. I can be very obsessed with things. So I'm going to, really, like, I will put the work behind it. I will have a strong work ethics. I will put the hours, and I will give it my best. I also have a very, I would say that, I'm kind of insensitive to fear in a way. I think that's probably because my brain is processing emotions with a little bit of delay sometimes. And particularly for fear, I usually do not feel it, or I'm not aware it's there if it's there. So that's really great, because that means that I can go out there in the world into action very quickly. Like, I usually do not have so much doubt about what I'm going to do or how people are going to perceive it. I'm kind of a little bit reckless or fearless sometimes, maybe when I start, but it also helps. Shipping things faster, creating things, going out there, testing them, and I also do not mind so much the opinion of other people. I'm very faithful that I'm gonna resonate with the right people, and that also allows me to do things authentically, and to try to show up out there in the world as much as possible without masking, which is actually great. So that's two things for the business for sure that have been super helpful. So being obsessed and not feeling the fear so much. I also realized that I have actually a lot of things happening in my head. Like, when you are on the autism spectrum, you are more observant, you are more able to see patterns. Your brain is connecting thoughts in a different way than other people. So actually, there is a lot of creativity up there that I've been working on extracting through my first business journey. And yeah, I realized there is a lot of power there that maybe a lot of people cannot access, that actually for me is would be easy to use. It also allows me to teach well. It also allows me to think about how to do things in a non-boring way. So there are like plenty of ways I connect things that are different from other people, and it's actually a strength that I realize I have, and can keep bringing and building even more to the world. And the other thing is that, to be a coach, this is also very helpful, because a good coach is somebody who is able to see the patterns in your behaviors, is able to challenge you, which comes with not being afraid of what people think. And it's also about creating safe spaces for people. And if you are somebody who is neurodivergent and you've never really felt that you belong in the world, kindness is kind of something that you do naturally as well, because you can understand how much pain there is out there, and holding the space for that is is something that people who are don't feel like other people usually can do better than people who feel accepted by society, I would say. So these are things that actually made me a great coach as well. And this capacity also to think in a structured way, because I think in patterns. So it actually helps me guide people in the right direction in the coaching sessions. So lots of good strengths that I've noticed now, and I'm like, okay, these are strengths that I should definitely leverage even more. But what I've seen with neurodivergence is that these strengths also have like a flip side that is a little bit less helpful. So for instance, this obsession and very strong focus and ability to execute fast is great, but it also means that I can burn myself out very quickly if I am not paying attention to, how fast am I going. It also means that sometimes I might go in the same direction very strongly, spend a lot of hours, but if I don't take the time to reflect on, actually, is this working? Do I have like real measure for success to make sure that I can say, now we should quit rather than continuing? All these things is mechanisms I need to put in place to prevent this from happening, and also building more understanding about, for instance, what are the first signs of burnout? What are the things, if I go full-time on the business again, when do I need to stop? When do I need to take a break? What are my decision points, basically? And that's something that will need a little bit more building. I would say at this point, there is also still a lot of emotional grief in processing the diagnosis. So this also needs to be taken into account, because even though it's not necessarily visible, but every single day I have to go in the world and carry the fact that I'm different from other people. And it's there is a cost that is sometimes invisible for people, but there is also like emotions to process around that. And that means that, I also need to plan this in my, in the way I lead the business. I need to think about, okay, there is the business side, the operation side, but there is also the me side. How do I take care of myself in a better way that is actually helpful and matches what I need? The other thing about, in my case with autism, that I have a real, I would say, disgust. I have a real disgust for dishonesty. So anything that feels manipulative or feels salesy and everything like that, or like, fake connections, is really, really hard for me to engage with. Small talk as well. So that impacts, obviously, the way I can do sales or the way I can do networking. And that is also something that needs to be taken into consideration, because I can go to a networking event, for instance, and have small talk with people. But if I do this, I'm going to be drained. I'm going to feel that there is actually no connection being created, which makes me feel bad about myself, because I value time. I value the time of somebody else. And if I've just wasted their time talking about the weather, I feel like I've killed their brain cells and they kill mine. And it doesn't really feel satisfying. And obviously it makes me feel that I don't want to engage further with them. So that means that in terms of networking, I need a different approach to be able to be out there and be as honest and as authentic as I want to be. The other thing, obviously, is also the cost of working with people all the time, or having to be visible all the time on social media to make things happen. Because even though I like this, I know I'm very good as a coach, and I really like to be on social media and do some content creation. There is also a cost if I'm doing this all the time, and it can drain me, or I can absorb a lot of other people's emotions. So I also need to think about this in terms of timing and in terms of recovery. How can I do this in a way that is consistent, that is sustainable, that is still enjoyable for me, and I can really give what I have to people, but it's not completely depleting me every single time, meaning that if I do a coaching session, I don't need to spend a full day recovering from that. Or a workshop, which has happened in the past. I was doing some trainings, and sometimes it's like, training day, I give all the energy I have, and then I need to spend 2 days recovering completely and letting my brain unwind, because my brain is replaying the conversations, or is replaying, where I could have done things differently or better. So there is a lot of like, sometimes overstimulation that can come from and doing too much socially and doing too much content creation as well. So I need to also allow time for that. So some flip side, you can be very obsessed, go very fast, not fear anything, being very good with people and understanding them. But it also comes with a kind of contradictory cost, which I think it's probably what neurodivergence is about, is that you can do things very well, but there is also the other side of it that you have to take into consideration. So yeah, moving forward, so far what I'm thinking about is, first of all, making sure that I lean on my strength. So really go even further into what I was talking about today, and really identify what are the things that make me amazing at what I do, where things come easily to me, I don't need to force them, I enjoy them, and really lean into that and make sure that most of what I do in the business is on that, and not being apologetic about it, and just say, you know what, this is what I want to do, and that's going to bring me joy, and that's going to really leverage who I am at the best level. And compared to that, look at what I can delegate. So not trying to do everything anymore in the business and trying to have all the hats of everything. I've done this before. I know I can do all these things. But now if I go again in a business, it will be like thinking, okay, what do I really want to focus my time as the business owner, and can I hire somebody for a few hours to do the things that I don't like doing, and how can this work? Because I feel that would really remove part of the mental load, part of the emotional load, and if I can be in the flow, in a better zone where I know I can use my strength without having to compromise on other things, then it will be better. So this is one thing I'm considering. The other thing that I'm also trying to find, and if you have some resources on that, please share with me, because I'm really looking for ideas around different business models, because I'm considering right now, for instance, portfolio careers where I can have different streams of income. So even if one stream of income is in development, then there is one that is actually already made, that is working, that is bringing me enough financial safety. And I'm also looking at more, like trying to think about business more like in a cycle, rather than I need to constantly be on all the time, and I need to be, like the typical advice that you hear about business is that business is going to take time to build. So the first 2 years you have to be working every single day, I don't know how many hours, and this for me is not sustainable. I know I can give like a good 6 hours of very intense work a day, and then a few more things I can learn, or I can be around people. But typically, like delivery work, it's 6 hours maximum a day, and this needs to be changed. Like, so I would like to see, for instance, like models that are more cyclical, so they can be like a phase where it's really intense and I'm delivering a lot, but then there is like a more quiet phase when I can recover and reflect a little bit, and then there is more like like kind of seasons, like spring, summer, autumn, and winter kind of patterns in the work. And I don't know if that can work for businesses. I haven't seen a lot of people thinking like this. So for me, it's like, can I create a business that will allow me, if I want, for instance, to disappear for a month because I need to take a break, is there a way that I can build a business that is still working without me, and allows me these phases of recovery, and going away from the world, getting back some good creativity, and then coming back with fresh ideas and fresh ways to engage with people. So this is something I'm exploring. So as I was saying, if you know people who do this, and if you know successful role models of entrepreneurship who are neurodivergent and have created business that work like this, I would really like to learn from them. So drop this in the comments if you know. And the final thing that I'm considering at the moment is to build this business on the side of having a normal job that pays the bill for a while. And this goes against what I was saying earlier, that I'm fearless and I can go for it, and I don't really mind taking like big leaps of faith, but I also realize that the financial safety is needed. So having a good foundation where my brain is not in survival mode all the time, it's better for me in terms of how much I can give out there in the world. So if that means having a part-time job or having something that pays enough that I can, I can build slowly on the side, and I can make it work before I have to go back full-time in business, would be very helpful. I was reading a comment on Reddit that was saying that when you are neurodivergent, you are constantly battling to get yourself out of extreme poverty, which was a statement from somebody who was saying that it's either you are burned out and you have to take time for recovery, but then you cannot work, so you end up in very bad situation financially, or you are in situations where you are getting more finances, but you are basically like it's a loop. Like you can give everything, you can get paid, but at some point you're going to go back to the burnout and not being able to do anything. And this is a mindset that really, when I read this, I was like, ooh, that it's a little bit too hard, because it reminds me of how the last years have been for me. And it's also a mindset that I don't really want to adhere to. I don't want to be the person who is constantly, having to work for a while, get back some finances, and then go in business, and then few years back, a few years later, burn out and then have to go back in a normal role. So I would like to stay away from that, and that's why I'm trying to slow down the way I'm going back into business. And just rethinking how I can do it in a way that's sustainable. So yeah, these were my reflections so far. It's still work in progress. I might come back with another video in a few weeks or months and give you a whole different perspective on that. But yeah, I'll share what I'm learning in the process as I'm trying to build this business differently. And if I'm testing things, I will also let you know how the experiment is going. And if you're a neurodivergent entrepreneur yourself, and you have best tips, or if you've changed already things in your business since you had a diagnostic, I would really like to hear, because I feel that we need more inspiration from different people who are also having this experience. So share them in the comments, and yeah, I'll see you all tomorrow for another video.